Vegan.
1, 2,
3. Welcome to the Vegan123 show with me, Berty Justice. The first track for today is We Are All Made of Stars. Last Sunday, myself and a group of volunteers did a ceremony and outreach, and some people sold food, but all of the actions were in aid of National Animal Rights Day, and we spoke to the public, we did a ceremony, and several people either spoke words or spoke poems to basically make people more aware about the animals that are suffering in the world, that are having their lives ended because of humans wanting to eat them or to use their body parts. And I was there ablazoned. We all had a t-shirt that said "Our planet, there's two," which is just an amazing statement, so true. And the collective was part of many around the world that were all doing a ceremony on the same day to all raise awareness for the animals. And I felt that the best way to articulate that day and express that day is by actually getting the other people who spoke on that day, and whether it's through speeches or poems, I'm going to get each of them to explain how their vegan journey started, and then the words that they said on the day. So the first person whose words we're going to hear is Evies, and she did the opening speech for the ceremony.
So I went vegan about 5.5 years ago because of my mum, who herself went vegan a year before me. She would cook lots of amazing vegan food and introduce me to things like dairy alternatives, milks and butters, and meat substitutes. So over time, my receptivity to veganism increased, and it felt less and less like a massive sacrifice, as it can to a lot of people initially. And this is why I consider food an important component to activism, because everyone loves food. It's a common ground. It's a positive, engaging way to kind of introduce people to the lifestyle. So at this point, when I was neither opposed nor committed to veganism, and I was just experimenting with new foods, it was suggested that I watch the Earthlings Documentary. And this exposes the appalling treatment of animals in agriculture. After 7 minutes, I couldn't watch anymore, and I've been vegan ever since. And in my activism now, I recommend the documentary Land of Hope and Glory to people, because this expose is specific to British animal agriculture. I'm also an environmentalist, so shortly after Earthlings, I watched Cowspiracy, and this was very influential in deepening my commitment to veganism. I think many people experiment with veganism or a plant-based diet, and then they revert to eating animal products, but there comes a point where that just isn't a possibility anymore. And for me, this was when I realised that veganism is just the fundamental practice of loving animals and protecting our environment. And without veganism, I couldn't do either of these things. Today is National Animal Rights Day. In over 70 cities worldwide, people are dedicating this day to pay their respects to non-human animals. Someone said there is really no such thing as the voiceless. There are only the deliberately silenced or the preferably unheard. This is a peaceful memorial service to commemorate all the animals who have suffered at human hands. They deserve a respectful ceremony like they deserved a better life. In labs, zoos, pet shops, farms and slaughterhouses, billions of animals are bred, eaten, confined, tested on and tormented. They are separated from their families and they're used for their bodies. We hunt them, take what's theirs, and we destroy their homes. Our planet and theirs too. Our use of animals is so widespread and normalised that we don't even consider animals as victims, but they are victims and their mistreatment needs addressing. They deserve better. We are better than this. We don't need to take anything from animals to live happy, healthy lives, and we actually thrive when we don't use and commodify them. Animals effortlessly comfort, inspire and uplift us. and when in their presence we want to love and protect them. But then we exploit animals every day for our food, entertainment, clothes, and cosmetics. They don't have a choice, but we do. Because what you eat, wear, and buy can be a force of violence or an instrument of peace. Our intention here is not to shame anyone. We stand here out of our shared love and respect for animals, and on behalf of those animals whose tragic stories and beautiful identities go unrecognised and ignored, we ask that you please keep an open mind and heart. Only then can we move towards a kinder and more sustainable society. Rather than turning away from animal suffering and climate change, we can embrace being part of the solution. The vegan movement is vibrant and growing. In the UK, the consumption of animal products is decreasing, and we're seeing reforms to animal welfare and environmental policy. There have been major advancements in plant-based food technologies and alternatives to animal testing, which are true testaments to our human ingenuity. But as you can see from these images, we have a long way to go in ending animal cruelty and in achieving environmental sustainability. To all the activists standing together today, thank you for being here and for all that you do for the animals. This is our planet and theirs too. We invite you to join us as we bring these animals to our minds and hearts, as we take a moment of silence to honour and pray for them and reflect on our role in making this world a better place.
I felt that the 2 minute silence was very powerful. It's in England, we do all sorts of different minute silence when famous people die or because of wars. But actually, it's good. It's really healthy to do a 2 minute silence for the animals that are still in pain, the animals that are still are dying and being abused and taken advantage of. 2 minutes to reflect on their lives and how our actions affect their lives, whether directly when we buy animal products or indirectly, how we can live more gently on the planet and make their lives easier and better. And I hope you guys were able to reflect, and you can reflect again in the future on the animals and your interaction with them. And if you still use animal products, ask yourself why and how you could, change that. You could stop using animals. The next person who's going to share words with us is Carol, and she wrote a poem.
Hello, my name's Carol. I've been a vegan for about 7 years. I went vegan after being vegetarian for a lot longer than I should have done, when a friend of mine, one day at a hen rehoming, asked me why I was still having murder milk in my tea, and I couldn't figure out what she meant. And when I asked her, she explained to me about the dairy industry, and that was it for me, really. I was horrified. This is a poem I wrote 2 or 3 years ago. It's called Kinder Yields. No wool, no silk, no fur, no leather, no fish, no meat, no milk, no feather, no face, no eyes, no ears, no wings, no honey, nor sentient beings. There's food growing in the fields. We don't need to kill, there's kinder yields. Enough for you, enough for me. Life-saving, ethical, and guilt-free.
That spoke on the day was Julie, and I'll pass you over to Julie now.
There was not a real moment. I don't know where it came from. I just knew that when I was about 13 that I suddenly realised, and I don't know where it came from, because I lived in a meat-eating family, and we're talking back in the 70s when it wasn't really a thing. You know, you had two heads if you were vegetarian, and so I have no idea where it came from. And I kept saying I would be vegetarian if I like nuts, because I thought that's what vegetarians ate, was nut cutlets. So I must have got that from somewhere, but I don't know where. And I didn't like nuts, so I couldn't be vegetarian, could I? And then I think what really did it was when I was at university, one of my I was in a hall, lodgings, hall of residence, and someone who was in the same resident as me was a vegetarian, and she didn't eat nut cutlets. So I thought, oh, that's all right, I can do it then. Because she had this weird stuff called muesli that lived, in the cupboard in the in our community hall, but she didn't eat nut cutlets, so that was fine. And it was probably a year or so after that, and I started to investigate a bit more. Started going in health food shops, found soya TVP at the time, dried mint stuff.
Yeah.
Made a meal for the family with spaghetti bolognese using that, and the family didn't know. My stepchildren had no idea that that's what I'd made it with.
It was that good. And
that was the turning point, the final turning point, and then it went from there. So I joined the Vegetarian Society and learned how to do it properly, and then I did a nutrition course, and after that a kinesiology course, when I found out that I was intolerant to dairy, and then realised that everybody is intolerant to dairy. And so the vegan thing came more from the health aspect of it than the animal side of it to begin with. Initially, being vegetarian was about the animals. It was all about the animals. And then I found that it helped my health, and it went from there. So that was back in finished my nutrition course in about 87. So it was about then.
Wow.
All those years. So, it's for the animals, for my health. And I've enjoyed being a nutritionist for 40 years, helping people to give up, reduce their meat, and understanding that it isn't good for their health either.
Amazing. So it's like a win-win-win.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yeah, all along. I was so much more healthy. I was living up in Lincolnshire, and I was beginning to get arthritis. And by giving up meat, I absolutely, it's still not. By rights, I should be really crippled with it, because I'm 61, and we're talking back when I was in my 20s.
So it's helped reverse it, basically.
Yes.
Well, that's amazing, yeah.
And other things like, when I'm working with clients, cutting out meat helps their IBS. Their IBS goes away. And
things like when you take out dairy, have you found that people who have psoriasis or eczema, that's helped that as well?
Yes, absolutely. It's the key one to take out for skin conditions is dairy.
Is it all the hormones in the dairy?
No. Well, that's partly to do with it, but it's mainly the way we digest milk. So we're designed to digest milk until we're weaned. We have we make an enzyme called rennet, which we make until we're about 6 months old. So you see, that's when you see, babies quite often developing, unless they're very sensitive, they're more likely to develop skin things at around about 6 months old, when they become starting to eat solid food.
Yeah.
And they're being weaned, and it's because we stop making rennet. It's a natural process of growing up.
Ah, I see. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So what then happens is you end up with, they drink the milk, and then their body isn't digesting it because they haven't got the rennet in the stomach, and so that it messes the digestion up. It can't be digested properly.
Yeah, and the milk itself is designed for baby cows as well, isn't it? That's the thing.
Absolutely. It's not meant for humans either. Anyway, you know, the content of it, and humans become addicted to it because of the...
Okay, so morphine. Is the morphine like opiate?
That's right. So you become addicted to it. It's the same with cheese. You know, cheese was one of the last things I gave up because I was so addicted to it.
Yeah.
Because of it. But if you cut it out, you know, go cold turkey, then that's probably the only way of doing it. Or it was when I was doing it, because I mean now there are cheese alternatives, but they're still not cheese. They're still not like cheese. They're still not remotely like cheese, and they don't have the same effect, that same addictive effect that your body's craving. People's bodies crave. So that's why it's just so difficult for people to give up cheese. Or I could go vegan bar but cheese.
Yeah.
Every time.
It's a common line, isn't it?
Yes. Every time, but that's why.
And then you've got a poem to read as well, haven't you?
I have, yes. This is a lovely, lovely poem. Dear God, when you see these animals coming on the rainbow bridge, please hug them, touch them, let them know some tenderness. Because they never knew it here. Gosh, it gets me every time. Dear angels, when these beaten and bruised animals arrive at your heavenly gates, please heal their wounds, wash their face, and soothe their skin, because no one did that here. Dear eternal souls, when these animals join you, nameless and alone, despaired and in fear, please be their mothers, fathers, sons and daughters for a moment, because they never knew them here. And the everlasting sunshine, night and rain, stars and wind and seas, please kiss these babies' faces in their cages till they fall asleep, because they'll never get to see you, breathe you, feel you, freely in their short time here. The end.
The next track I'm going to play is by Bert Miller, and it is called The Animals.
I wanna save all the animals, I wanna help them make the day go smooth. I wanna pop that wing back in its groove. I wanna befriend the lonely and feed the weak. I wanna stroke that face and hear that tweet. I wanna jump, swim, fly, sing, run, talk, and laugh with the animals. With the animals. In the trees, in the woods, in the buildings, in the city, in the water, in the lake, on the stone, in the river, in the air, in the sky, in the snow, on the mountains, on the grass, on the hills, in the sand, on the beaches, in the mud, on the bank. You see me getting closer with the animals. With the animals. Make a friend with me. Make a friend with the animals. I see so many colors, so many minds, so many eyes, so many friends.
Towards the end of the day, we took the pictures of the animals that we were carrying and laid them in front of a sign that said National Animal Rights Day, and also the National Animal Rights Declaration. We also laid flowers and candles in memory of all the animals that are currently being used and killed and were used and killed, sort of bringing attention to them. Some people said a few words, some people made a prayer, whatever people felt was appropriate to do in that moment. And then the end of the ceremony finished with Felicitys Words, and here is Felicity to explain about why she went vegan and what she said on the day.
Hi, my name is Felicity, and I'm going to be sharing exactly what it was that made me go vegan. So like all my life I had been someone that was really empathetic and loving towards animals, and it kind of fills me with shame now that I look back and realise it took me such a long time, but it was actually when I was doing my undergraduate degree in Southampton that I took a year abroad and went and studied in Galway in Ireland, and while I was there I took a documentary module, and one of those documentaries we looked at was Earthlings, and we weren't asked to watch it but we were asked to kind of look at the ethics around it. And I already had heard of the documentary and from my degree back in Southampton, and had kind of thought like whether I would be able to watch it and whether I'd be able to cope with the imagery in the film, because I knew that it would have a profound effect on me, and I kind of knew subconsciously that it would change me and change my ethics and my mindset. So I sat down one day to just research it a little bit more and have a look into it, and I ended up watching a YouTube reaction video to the film of someone watching it, and I heard the sounds of the pigs being murdered in the back. I also looked at images on IMDb and read reviews, and they all had me in tears, and I immediately decided there and then to become vegetarian. And I knew at the time that I was being a hypocrite, because all it would take would be for me to sit down and watch the actual film, and I was certain that it would change more than just my diet to vegetarianism, but probably my whole outlook on the world and, you know, the beings that how we treat the other beings that inhabit this world with us. So it sadly took me almost 2 years to finally sit down and make the decision to watch the film, knowing that I would become vegan like there and then. I'd already been making transitions, so I'd already moved off cow's milk and had turned into soya at the time, and I had then taken the steps into oat milk, and I'd tried vegan cheeses, and I'd already started to shed a lot, making preparations for that and kind of transitioning. But I think I decided at one point that I had to stop what I felt was real hypocrisy, and so I sat down with my partner and we watched the film together and supported each other through it, and it had the effect that we knew it would, and we were really, really ready for it and remorseful that it had taken us so long. So Earthlings for me is a really strong tool now when I talk to people that haven't made the move to becoming vegan yet or are looking to, because I think that it's something that it just spells out so clearly how needless our cruelty to animals is, and our diet that involves animal parts and bodies is just beyond like anything that you can think. It's just incomprehensible. Once the penny drops, you realize you don't need it. It can really change your life. It did for me anyway. So Earthlings has I have a lot to thank Earthlings for, and I think it's amazing what that film has done for the community and can continue to do, because it's pure evidence as the way I see it. So yeah, the ethics changed me. For some people it will be health and thinking about the impact on the planet, but for me it was always ethics. It's always been the animals, and it was a logical choice for me, and I'm so happy that I changed. I'm now going to read the Declaration of Animal Rights, which was read out by myself at the National Animal Rights Day just recently. This is something that's read out at all the memorials and ceremonies that are held across the world, and it was written by the group in collaboration, and it's something that we all stand by and adhere to. So this is the Declaration of Animal Rights. Since the dawn of humanity, there remains a group so persistently abused and marginalised that their suffering is ingrained in our everyday lives. If animals could freely talk, their chorus of cries would drown out every other sound in the world. We are all animals. We are all living, breathing beings who share the same earth. We all feel pain and suffer when we are hurt or deprived of our lives, our families, our freedom. We all have the right to experience kindness, compassion, and dignity. We believe in the kinship of all beings and the possibility for us to coexist in peace and harmony on planet Earth. Considering that all living beings on planet Earth came originally from the same source and follow the same evolutional principles. Considering that all living beings on planet Earth inhabit the same lands, seas, and air, and therefore share them and their resources to live within and to live off of, comprising one ecological system. Considering that all living beings possess the same basic needs to survive, to seek happiness and pleasure and avoid pain, to live comfortably, to procreate, create families and other social structures. Considering that all living beings as known to humankind are sentient beings and therefore can feel pain, pleasure, sensations, feelings and emotions. Considering that the human species is only one of millions of animal species and comprises a minute minority in number compared to the billions of animals living on this planet, we hereby proclaim that 1. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all beings are created equal and have a right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of their happiness. 2. Therefore, all animals have the same natural right to exist as any other living being. 3. All animals have the right to be free, to live their lives on their own terms as intended by nature. 4. All animals have the right to eat, sleep, be physically and psychologically comfortable, be mobile, healthy, safe, and fulfill all their natural and essential needs. As such, all animals are to be free from hunger, thirst, and malnutrition, physical discomfort and exhaustion, confinement against their will, bad treatment, abusive or cruel actions, pain, injury, and disease, fear and distress, and free to express their normal patterns of behaviour. All animals have the right to reproduce, live with their offspring, families, tribes, or communities, and maintain a natural social life. They have the right to live in their natural environment, grow to a rhythm natural to their species, and maintain a life that corresponds to their natural longevity. 5. Animals are not the property or commodity of humans, and are not theirs to use for their benefit or sustenance. Therefore, they are to be free from slavery, exploitation, oppression, victimization, brutality, abuse, and any other treatment that disregards their safety, own free will, and dignity. They should not be slaughtered for food, killed for their skins, experimented on, killed for religious purposes, used for forced labor, abused and killed for sport and entertainment, abused for commercial profit, hunted, persecuted, or exterminated for human pleasure, need, or other ends. 6. Humans shall do whatever is within their means to protect all animals. Any animal who is dependent on a human has the right to proper sustenance and care, and shall not be neglected, abandoned, or killed. 7. Animals who have died must be treated with respect and dignity, as humans are. 8. We call for the protection of these rights. They must be recognised and defended by law, as human rights are. Any act which compromises the well-being or survival of an animal or species, or jeopardizes, contradicts, or deprives an animal or species of the rights listed above, should be deemed a crime, and should be punished accordingly. In witness thereof, this declaration is hereby signed by animal activists everywhere. Thank you.
I need to say thank you to all of the volunteers who took time out of their day for the National Animal Rights Day on Sunday. All of the people that work tirelessly to help animals in whatever way they do by using their skills to help animals. I also want to thank all of the people who shared words and added to the show this month. All of you have amazing stories, and it's really amazing that you're speaking up for animals and trying to make the world a more compassionate place. I need to say a second thank you because you guys have taken time out of your lives to help add to this radio show. So a big thank you to you guys again. And the last track I'm going to leave you with this month is by my friend Ross Mayhew. He is a singer-songwriter, and he has lots of his music is available on YouTube, on SoundCloud, on Bandcamp, and some other platforms as well. So go check him out. And this track I've chosen because it reminds me of when I was bearing witness to the animals. and by bearing witness, I was witnessing animals going to a slaughterhouse, and it reminds me of a kind of the feeling that I had last Sunday with all the people all saying that they're trying to do stuff and do whatever they can for the animals. Thanks to Ross for letting me play his track, and everyone go check out his awesome music. But yeah, I suppose this show has kind of explained itself. It was the amazing work of all the other volunteers, and hopefully it will inspire some of you who are listening to think about, if you're not already vegan, it will hopefully inspire you to go vegan. And if you are vegan, it will hopefully inspire you to look into how you can help animals more. And so I will leave you with Ross's track. It's called We Are Here For You. Thanks everyone for listening. I hope you have an awesome day and keep being amazing. Peace out.
It's too soon to say goodbye.